Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. This one is a continuation on me building the wooden window box that sits inside the stonework, and then we'll push on and see how far I can get on some other tasks. I'd love to get stones in above the window. I'd love to send the window maker guy some measurements. That's my main goal. And I'd love to do some pointing as well, and then pull the scaffolding away from the front of the house so I can see the full view of the window. As you can see, the clouds are gathering in the sky. I think some rain is coming this week, and it's fairly humid right now. So I'm underneath this shade structure that I've propped up with a few bits of rope so it's not sagging in my face like it was before. And I've got some carpentry to do. So you can see I've marked out the ends here. And this is the final piece of the puzzle for the window box. It's going to rest on top of the side pieces here. So you can see things are level. This is more or less raised up to the height that I want it. And now I need to decide how much to chop off the top of these so that everything sort of sits evenly within the stone. So I need to prepare that top piece before I know how much of the sides I need to cut off. All these little different steps and stages. Carpentry for me is often finicky and slow and frustrating, but I always feel really good once I get things done, if I manage to get things done. It's carpentry where I usually make the most mistakes, especially when I'm tired. But now I'm feeling quite energetic, and before we started on the carpentry, I thought I would check in first with Success. Hello Success, how are you doing? She's looking a little better than she was when we rescued her from her tiny pot. The black stuff is still on there. A few people have mentioned what it could be in the comments, so I'll have to look that up and see if I can do something to rectify it. But I am very encouraged by the fact that these little leaves here have grown quite a bit in just a week, so she's looking okay. She's looking okay. I have some hope for her. Hang in there, Success. You got this, man. And we'll continue to monitor her situation, but right now, I've got some lap joints to make. So I've got a bit of refining to do to get everything to fit properly, but what I want to check is it mostly square? And if it's not square, is it close? And it seems like it's not square, but it seems like it's close. I just need to, I've got some bits of wood with right angles on them, flat pieces of plywood stuff, and so what I'm going to do is use those right angle sides to line up the sides of the box to make everything square, bolt those on, and it also gives me some weatherproofing as well. So for a little while, I'll probably have those in place. But now that I have the box mostly ready, even if it's not square, I can take some measurements and send them to the window guy and get a quote. So we've got 74 centimeters high by, let's say, 82.5 centimeters wide. So I'm gonna send that off to him with a little drawing of what I want. And hopefully I get a quote back fairly soon. And hopefully he'll be able to make a window for me also soonish, at least before the winter comes, because I don't fancy blocking this up with plywood. What I might do is block it out with plywood temporarily, but possibly make some sort of opening at the top, possibly with plexiglass or just plastic, so that I can get some light in, get some air in, and actually use this beautiful thing as a window the way nature intended. So I'm gonna send that off to Manuel, the window guy, now, and fingers and toes crossed, he gets back to me soon. It's a beautiful late afternoon, and I would love to get out for a walk, but I've got this gaping hole in my wall to deal with. You'll notice that the wooden window box is down now for refinement, and I'm working on something a little different. I've stuck some bits of cardboard up there to fill in the little gap, and now I'm going to get on the scaffolding and fill it in with some mortar stuff from above. So I've done a slightly drier, crustier, stiffer mix so that it doesn't all gloop through past the cardboard. This is highly experimental. I don't really know if the cardboard is gonna hold this stuff up there, but I hope so. And the idea is that I'll fill in the gap, it'll hold the top piece in more securely, and it's gonna allow me to build the stones on top without all of the mortar falling through. So if I can get all that done tonight, it gives me a great base to work from tomorrow. Fingers crossed, this works. I forgot this guy. All right. So, as long as the cardboard doesn't fall out the bottom, I don't see any reason why this little plan of mine shouldn't work. That's the thing I really love about building, is if you're willing to just take your time, if you've got a lot of patience, you're willing to experiment, you don't mind doing things more than once to try to get it right, it can be incredibly rewarding. It can also be pretty frustrating, but luckily I'm a pretty patient person. And I do believe that building, many types of building, it's really tricky to do things well, but if you just want to get something done to a dubious standard, I think as long as you're willing to have a crack at stuff, usually you can. And I would definitely say that I fall into the category of people that just will have a crack at something, will just have a go. And my aim is to always try to do it to the best of my abilities. But I'm a perfectionist, so that doesn't always really work so well for me. So rather than trying to get things perfect the first time or all the time, I just hope that each time I do something, I improve a little bit here and there. So things like doing timber framing or pointing, these are perfect skills that you can sort of hone over your lifetime, really, your lifetime of building. And I definitely feel like I'm getting better doing both of those things. I feel like I've gotten better at laying bricks, which isn't something I love massively, but you have to learn how to improve the things that you don't like as well. Tiling, for example, is definitely one that I am not crazy about trying again, because I definitely am not very good at it. But continuing to practice it, continuing to just have a go is the only way I'm going to get better. So even with my dreaded tiling, I'll look forward to the project where I have to do it again. And there's definitely things that I've learned along the way so far, and there's lots more things to learn as I continue pushing forward as well. And nobody out there is going to care about my build as much as I do. So even if things take me way longer, and even if my skills are of a dubious standard, oftentimes I find that me just taking the time to do something slowly and meticulously might even have better results than a professional. Mostly not, but sometimes I think it does. And the important thing is that I really enjoy the process. And so surprisingly, this seems to be going mostly to plan. So I'll just continue sticking this stuff in the crack, and then tomorrow it'll all be nice and secure for me to stick some stones up here and finish the window hole once and for all. It's another gorgeous sunny day. We've got a week of rain coming next week, so I'm gonna enjoy this. This is me trying to clamp my shoe together. I've super glued the sole on, and I've been over here foraging for stones to use above the window. But before I get into that, I also had a delivery of more of these things. They're fabulous, and I'm gonna try to use them to construct some sort of a patio, I guess, something to contain the gravel, and then I'll build up a pergola from those. But right now, it's all about stones and building above the wall, finally closing off the gap above it. So I've got a few stones here of varying sizes. I've got some mortar mixed up, and I'm gonna get up there and try to put together a puzzle. So I don't exactly know how this is gonna go. It's probably gonna be pretty tricky, very slow. And yeah, like I said, just like putting together a puzzle. Kind of an unenjoyable puzzle. A very heavy puzzle, a pretty dusty puzzle, but a puzzle nonetheless. And I guess I can try to make it fun. I don't have a massive amount of stones to choose from, which could make things a little tricky, but I can just try. That's all I can do, really. Little by little, piece by piece, build it up and see what I end up with. I don't know, what's my strategy here? Maybe put a few stones up top and then move them around, and then I guess mortar them in? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think that's a good one. Are you a good one? Solid maybe. I wonder if maybe I should start at one side and work my way over. Who knows? This is my first time doing this. Let's try this guy over there. Something like that. I think that looks good. All right, that's my starting point. And I shall move to the left. First things first, maybe we need a little bit of bashy, just to make some space. This could be a terrible idea. But even if it is a terrible idea, it is actually very enjoyable. So this is going to be very time consuming and possibly unenjoyable. I don't know, maybe that works. I just don't know. One thing I do know though is this is a two-handed job and it's quite tricky to film. And it's super hot out and I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna get this done. So I'm gonna say goodbye for a little while, try to puzzle through this and check in again once I have a little bit more of this done. Some rocks in place, proof of concept, and then we'll push on and finish things off together. I got a little carried away, guys, and I just mortared a whole bunch of stones in place with a lot more success than I was expecting. I've put a few little stones here, I've got these little guys here, and that just allows me to hold the stones in place while the mortar hardens, and it's looking pretty good. And what else is looking pretty good is that beautiful blue sky up there, and I'm gonna go for a little stroll. And for some reason, the sound totally cut out on this clip, but this is me walking down with my shopping bags to Sancho's pine forest to collect some pine cones and pine needles to prepare for the winter. They're great for starting fires, and I want to get a whole bunch of them collected before the rains come next week. And while I take my little wander down, I thought I would talk about the window. I went to chat to the window guy, Manuel, who lives in a village nearby. I took the measurements for my window hole. I told him that I want double glaze. I told him that I'd like sweet chestnut, and he did a little drawing. We talked about the hinges and the fasteners, and he's gonna have a quote with me hopefully next week. And he told me that he's pretty busy, so he won't be able to get the window done until at least late October or possibly early November. So I'll have to plan for that. If I'm honest with you, that's what I was expecting, so I'm not too disappointed. But yeah, it's good to get things moving finally. And I'll have a window on the way very soon. So the neighbors barking and yapping trio of dogs are behind me. They're pretty noisy, but I'm lucky that the sound doesn't really travel up too far. And there's a tractor here. I wonder what's going on. But dogs on chains are definitely a thing here in Portugal, and yeah, I wouldn't want to live next door to that, but in these stone buildings, sound doesn't really get in or out, so it's kind of like a bunker, so I don't really hear too many dogs. I don't hear the train that's pretty loud, and it's nice and quiet and relaxing. And I'm not exactly sure what's up here, but we have a large tractor. And here it is. It's a beast. I'm pretty sure one of my other neighbors is having some waterworks done, and so I imagine that's why this giant thing is parked here. So it'll be interesting to see what that's all about. It'll be interesting to see if I can get past the thing. In I go. And so Sancho's got a whole bunch of shriveled grapes, just like the rest of us. Grapes did not do very well this year. And let's see how our olives look. This tree was given a pretty hard prune last year. Not a lot of olives on there now, even though the tree was really good last year. Not a lot of olives over here. It's not looking super olivey down here. And the grapes were a washout, as I mentioned. So, oh, we've got some, and they're turning color. So that's pretty exciting. And Sancho's gonna be here in her little wooden cabin next week, and I'm excited to see her. But right now, let's go up to the forest and get some pine cones and pine needles. Haha! Jackpot. And so I have a bag of pine cones and 2 glorious bags of pine needles. I'll need way more of all of these. Sinead's gonna need some, Central will want some as well. And basically what I do is make a nest of pine needles, stick a pine cone on top of that, and then I put usually fig branches, which I have loads of, but I've also got lots of small olive branches, and then stick some logs on that, and the fire starts really nicely. And I'm in my garden polytunnel. I'll eventually move all this stuff up to the top polytunnel, but it's too messy and I'm very ashamed of it. I've been meaning to clean that for 6 months now and still haven't. And here we have Sinead's winter garden seed babies, and there are no signs of life just yet, but I'll keep checking on them and report back. And so that was a pretty sweaty little adventure. It's sunny and humid out as well. It's gonna rain, as I mentioned, next week. Pretty solidly, it's gonna be a lot of rain, and you can feel it in the air, you can feel that it's coming. And I'm exhausted and I feel extremely gross. Something about being in a forest is lovely and wonderful, but you just get stuff all over you, especially when you're sweaty, and I just feel very yucky. So I'm gonna clean myself up, and it's Friday, so I'm going to go for a beer with a couple of friends and call it on work for the day. So I still have loads of work to do, but I'm still enjoying it and excited to get back to it tomorrow. Okay, I am back on the wall, and I've basically just placed a whole bunch of stones loosely in spots where they might work. I've got these ones that seem like they've been mortared in securely, so it gives me a nicer base to work from. And now I'm just gonna use the mix that I made down here and stick these stones into place. So I've mostly finished the top part of the window, which is what I wanted to do in this video, and that's because rain is coming and I just wanted to seal it all off. I still have to do the side parts, but I'm gonna move the scaffolding out of the way to do that. So I'm gonna finish the video here, but first let's get off this scaffolding and take a look at how this pointing looks from far away, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna look pretty cool. Well, I hope it will anyways. I absolutely love it. I think it looks really cool, and it's gonna look amazing once I actually get the whole side part done and get the scaffolding out of the way. Yeah, I am actually quite impressed with how this has turned out. I'm really excited to get the window in there, but for now, the window hole has been a success. I'm so happy with this. It's been a very tough project, challenging in many different ways, but also super rewarding. And I'm just very pleased with myself. It's not finished yet, but it's almost there. And now I've got lots of work to do on the inside to actually prepare for the window, which won't be here for a month, so it gives me lots of time. But I'm really looking forward to just shaping the inside wall, doing some plastering, getting a sill in there, finishing the window box, and getting the lintel up, and lots more. So still loads to do, but this has been an amazing project so far, and I think a lot of you out there have really enjoyed it, and I've definitely not only enjoyed the work, but also enjoyed how it's turned out. So I'm gonna say goodbye from this video. I'll wave with my very dodgy gloves. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.